Hello, everybody. Once again, I'm here with Tom Nasser of Xray.tech. Today, we're talking about practical usage of AI. I've got some stuff I've been learning how to do, and I didn't think it was cutting edge until I spoke to some founders who they were like, "What you're doing is dark sorcery," and I didn't know AI could do this. So it's helpful to remember, right? Tom and I live and breathe a lot of stuff around AI and automations, and Tom has something super cool to show about AI and automation in a few minutes. But first, I'm going to go through some tactical things you can do using ChatGPT and OpenAI right now to make practical use of AI. A lot of what I see founders struggling with when they're trying to use ChatGPT is they write like, write me a blog post about trees. And the output's not great. And there are a few reasons why that might be a problem for you. Before I dive into my actual examples, if you wish to follow along at home, bit.ly/practical AI usage, which I'm pretty sure I spelled correctly, but regardless, it's spelled as on the link here on the screen, will let you have access to everything that I'm going to be going through today and some more stuff besides, all in a handy Xray.tools dashboard. So if you haven't checked out Xray.tools, Xray.tech dashboard. Tom, I screwed it up.
It's okay. It's
And
all
we're
right.
live. I can't take it back.
This is what happens when we're live. You know,
Happens when we're
there's
live.
there's just a lot of extensions and domains and stuff this year.
That's
now
true. I bought
modern
like
day.
4.courses domains last month. So there you go.
It just. I think we just do it live. We just keep going.
F it, we'll do it live. All right.
Yeah.
So
Let's just keep going.
an Xray.tech dashboard on Xray Workflow will have all the tools and resources that we're using to talk about today. And if you haven't checked out Xray.tech's tools, then you should do that too. Alrighty, let me share my screen and we'll talk about
Let's do it.
what we're doing here today. So, first thing first, what I have seen a lot of founders do, and what I used to do back at the beginning, if I scroll far enough down here, is I would just use one chat for everything. I would ask it increasingly, like, this is not a great example because I guess I asked several questions. I would end up asking, here's a better example, I guess, many questions in one chat. And by using many questions in one chat on different topics, you're actually screwing with ChatGPT's little brain, because ChatGPT uses these tabs as a semantic box for we're talking about whatever we started talking about. So when I use ChatGPT now, I create a different chat for even different parts of a problem I'm asking it to solve. I'll give you an exact example here. The first thing I want to talk about, because if you write a prompt that's like, hey, write me a blog post about trees, you're going to get a pretty rubbish result because you haven't told ChatGPT what you want. Well, so in the Xray board here, where I've got, let me find where it is. I think prompt engineering. This stitch links to this exact same chat thread. But what I'm doing here is, how do I use ChatGPT to tell me how to use ChatGPT? I've basically written a prompt. I've seen variants of this over the net and on LinkedIn for the last couple of months, but it didn't occur to me that other founders and people who are exploring AI might not know that you can do this. So you paste this into a new tab, and you've now told ChatGPT, this is your role. Now, it's going to create an improved prompt. The thing I don't want to do is paste that here. I want to go make a new tab and paste that prompt all the way at the beginning here. I pasted that prompt here. So now ChatGPT gets, oh, this thread is about writing a blog post. This thread is about writing better prompts. Now, ChatGPT will sometimes forget what it's supposed to do. It'll wander off and hallucinate. But with this said, like in this case, I gave it a very short prompt, right? Write a blog post about the 3 best ways to grow a business on social media. That's not a very good prompt. Instead, now it is much more specific. This is still not a really hefty prompt. It's like a mediocre size prompt. And when you get the output of this, you end up with a blog post that is still a bit generic, right? One, it is almost always true whenever you have ChatGPT's output, you can almost just delete the whole first paragraph because it's going to be basically the digital equivalent of, and you just throw it away. So if we start with, hey, we'll delve into actual techniques, use cases, and like practical tips for how to use social media for business growth. Awesome. It's going to give me build a strong brand identity, implement targeted advertising campaigns, and leverage influencer marketing. All right, those are the three. And then it kind of goes a bit into some utility of it, and then a case study. Now, I haven't read these case studies. I would always be highly skeptical of this kind of output from ChatGPT. If ChatGPT could just make stuff up, this is where it's going to do it. So if you see a particular real world use case explained here, do double check before you write a blog post or whatever saying this, because like that lawyer in Florida recently who got, I think, disbarred because he had ChatGPT write a legal argument for him and it manufactured precedent that didn't exist. And when the judges were like, I can't look up the cases that you said argue in your favor, then he's like, yes, I use ChatGPT to generate these answers. And they're like, the literal job of a lawyer is to do this research yourself. So check this before you publish. That said, this output is like mediocre, but now I've asked a specific question to ChatGPT. Which of these three methods is most effective? And then ChatGPT basically goes, I don't know, right? And then it gives, here's a bunch of things that might indicate the effectiveness of it, but I can give you no answers. Now, you can get ChatGPT to give you actual opinions, but you have to give it better instruction. So I come back over here to my prompt engineering and I say, all right, I want to make sure it knows I'm talking about a blog post. In this case, it knows it generate a prompt for a blog post. Improve this prompt. And now it goes, boom, this is an actual prompt that gives specifics for what you want to see ChatGPT do for you. Then the result that comes out of this is a little better, right? I'm going to go grab from here this one. There we go. So now I've got that. It's written a blog post, but what it gives them a strength and the weaknesses, but it still at the end says any of them can do, but maybe you want to consider the scalability, whatever. It hasn't given you a really good answer yet. So now when you're trying to get ChatGPT to give you a concrete answer, it can help to ask it to do what's called tree of thought or chain of thought reasoning, which is now you say, don't just give me an answer, explain step by step. And when you do this, the logical performance of ChatGPT goes up a lot. If you ask common brain teasers like, there's a train in Milwaukee and a train in Chicago, and they're both going at this many miles per hour, meeting in Detroit, which train arrives first? If you just ask ChatGPT, odds are very high it'll give you a stupid answer. But if you ask it to do thought reasoning, train X is going this fast, train Y is going this fast, the distance is this far, here's the math, it'll give you a much better result. So here I've said, hey, give me a step-by-step process of what's going to work. And it walks through these steps now, and then it begins to say, still not quite firmly defined. I've tried asking it again a different way. It didn't really work. And so finally I went back to my prompt writer and I went, you know what? I'm not able to ask a good question. So improve using the tree of thought. What's going to give my answer? And then it gives me this monstrously huge prompt, which I would never write a prompt this big myself. That's practically an essay in and of itself. But once I've asked ChatGPT to generate me that monster prompt, it spits this out and then begins, here's your conclusion. There's the answer to your question. It also wrote a decently long article and walked through some of the reasoning behind why this is the way to go. So, as you're engineering prompts, what you want to do is build a prompt engineering prompt that will then tell you how to write instructions to ChatGPT to give it the best chance of giving the answer you want. Whenever I write prompts, they're like a sentence or two at best. As I've gotten better at it, I will tend to write more involved prompts, but I would never write a prompt this big. So I doubt you, average viewer, would either. This tool ends up being one of those quivers, one of those arrows in your quiver that helps you use ChatGPT to produce results you'd never expect to. One of the other things you're going to find is as you are working in a narrow topic, right? This is all around social media for launch. I can ask specific questions about, like, hey, talk to me more about the fundamental importance of brand identity. It can just be, write a detailed brief on the fundamental mental important. How am I not spelling it right? That is correct. Really? Have I gone insane? Oh yeah, indeed. There's no A. Fundamental. Oh my. Um, Importance of brand identity. And now it will write a post about just that. So if I, for example, some of the founders I'm working with, they want to do content creation at scale, and the initial outputs of GPT aren't giving them good in-depth stuff. But I can easily query on brand identity. I can query on customer acquisition and market penetration. I can on the long-term impact on sustainability. I could ask it to write in depth on each of these and even give me case studies and expert opinions, and like really write a lot of in-depth content all on this one subject. So you start to not just put a prompt in, get a better prompt engineered for you, and then begin to use that to further interrogate ChatGPT. You get better content. You can ask ChatGPT to pretend to be your buyer persona. You can ask your buyer persona question about what motivates them. Now, again, validate anything ChatGPT is saying with actual experimental data. But you do this kind of thing and you can spend half an hour and learn tremendously deep things about your audience or write a lot of in depth content about niche topics that are really good long term keywords and these sorts of things that deliver a lot of value for you. Once you understand how to engineer prompts and have ChatGPT engineer them for you, you can use ChatGPT to simplify complex ideas into more digestible, more understandable things and produce high quality outputs that maybe were beyond you in your initial attempts. Speaking of that, Tom has a whole thing he's done around this that I think is definitely like, I've monopolized 13 minutes here. I think it is now what I want to see from you, Tom, is you've got GPT, you've got what you've engineered, and now you've built something that just blew my socks off when I saw the demo of it because of its utility. So I'm going to shut up. Show me what you've done, man.
Yeah, well, I first of all really appreciate the demo, Trevor, on that, because I think using a chat gpt to help engineer better prompts that you're just not going to write, you're not going to be thorough enough to draft and have it sort of extract out to produce the thing that you actually are trying to produce. I think that pattern is not that pattern is very underrated. And in some of the things that I've seen very recently, um, in using these models, is like, you use the example of driving a train from X to Y in the distance, and that ChatGPT is wonderfully terrible at doing math, right? You can
Yes.
ask it to do very simple math, and it will fail again and again and again. But to ask it to write, that's one of the reasons that you can't have it write. You can't have it like do real data analysis on your systems, right? You can't just paste a spreadsheet in there and say, tell me the anomalies. Like it just won't be able to do that. But what you can do is you can query it to give you specific code, which could be used to do calculations. So there's sort of this layering approach where, depending on what you're trying to do, if you do, like Trevor just did on this, hey, help me write the prompt. Now I feed you the prompt, and now I get really a lot closer to what it is that I'm looking for. That same tactic also applies to writing SQL code or understanding a database or being able to extract the value out of some structured data to do math or to do some other analysis. Like, this is a pattern that I think we're going to see a lot with these models. Is like, it's not about the first swing, it's like the second and third that like really exponentially delivers more value. So um yeah, I just really appreciated that example because I think it speaks directly to that, refinement.
Yeah, that's like the baby step version. Definitely, I have seen Josh Pigford on Twitter posted a whole thread he was doing where he asked it to make SQL code and it didn't do it right, so he pasted the error in, and it went, "Oh, this is what it should do instead."
Yeah.
And so, like again, that back and forth is when it takes a stab, got it wrong, you tell it what to do. It's not really thinking. It's like, at this point, what you're basically doing is saying, ChatGPT, you've got every Stack Overflow thread ever in your head. This error, what does Stack Overflow say the answer should be?
Yeah.
And then it just spits it out and gives it that to you, right?
Yeah.
But that is the power of this back and forth querying is don't just like go once and say, great, it did its job or it failed. As you push more, you can discover it doesn't think, but it kind of looks like it does
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes.
So let's get into another concrete example here.
Let's do.
So this is Xray.tools. I don't think it is on the stream. It is
Bing.
now.
There we go.
Thank you. So this is the Xray.tools stream. Or I'm sorry, the Xray.tools application, right? This is a automation search engine to help you figure out what you can automate with tools that you already use. So we have Index, Zapier, Make, and Workato. We have certified a bunch of tools that we've worked with extensively already. You can request a new platform here, but there's a couple new things here. So this is a live deploy preview. You can access it through the Bitly link right here. That will take you to an Xray workflow board, and you'll be able to see this chat example. But we're gonna add a couple tools. So let's say Notion. We love Notion. Maybe Slack is also good. And how about Zoom? Right? Who goes a day without being on Zoom? So these are 3 different tools. They are all indexed, Xray certified, Xray.tech certified, and you can see the providers here at the bottom. We recently added Bardeen and N8N support. They're much lesser widely known automation platforms, but they have some interesting benefits and drawbacks. If you're looking at automation providers, you should check them out. So let's actually look at the automation abilities of Notion. So when I click on Notion here, I'm realizing this just opened up in a new tab.
Whoop.
Which I am going to just go to here. So here you see all the triggers, actions, and searches that are able to be performed on Zapier, Make, Workato, Bardeen, and N8N. So if you're just a no-coder, you don't write a single line of code, this information on the right is what you need. If you're looking at Notion as a tool and you're thinking, what can I automate with Notion? These things here on the right are all completely no-code actions, triggers, and searches that you can command being a no-coder. You'll be on Zapier. You can say, "Hey, this is a new database item." Now that's going to trigger something in Zapier, and you can do anything you would want in Zapier. If you want to go directly to the Notion product page on any of these platforms, you can click right on here, and this little API docs chat is in beta, and this is what we've been working on last couple of weeks that we've talked about, and I'm just really excited to share. So this will probably roll out in the next week or so, but I wanted to show it here as sort of a first view and sneak peek to get into the weeds here. So you can ask any question to this chatbot referring to the API docs, to the Notion developer docs. And this is sort of the bridge between being a no-coder, being a low-coder, and being able to just write JavaScript code coming out your fingers, right? Of course, that's where we'd all love to be, just to be a code wizard. But myself included, we're not like that, at least not right now. So if I really wanted to understand how do I find a specific page in a database, or how do I find pages in a database? We have some example questions here. I can just click on that, and the AI is thinking. And before you know it, it starts actually telling us the answer. So you can query a database. You can use the query a database endpoint, right? And it gives you all of this verbose information about it, but it also includes a link directly to the source that it provided this answer to you from. So in this case, that is, developers.notion.com/doc/ working with databases. We can say things like, how do I update a page contents using a webhook, right? Because in Zapier, you can't actually do that. Well, unfortunately, it's not possible to update a page contents using a webhook. You can use the pages endpoint. Okay, and now we can look at the endpoint. So maybe this API request beta from Zapier is actually the way that you'd want to use it. So you handle authentication already if you're using API requests through Zapier or whatever. This is exactly the line that we're trying to blur here with Xray.tools. The difference between a no coder and a low coder really is quite substantial when it comes to your abilities to add things and build things. But with this handy dandy chatbot, you can actually be able to ask and understand and learn about the API docs that you're trying to work with. So how do I change the emoji of a page? Let's see. So here, here's the page property example it gives you, and then a link directly to the emoji object inside of Notion. If I click on this, I didn't think it would update on the live stream. You can see that it takes you directly to the developer docs right here in Notion, talking about the emoji properties. So you can learn more. So if I just take a step back here to the other window, I'm just going to show you really quickly what the board is that Trevor and I have been referring to here. So you're going to see everything on the right side of the screen. This is the left side's my management interface, right? But you have the ability to go in and actually read these prompts that Trevor was doing inside the leveraging social media growth, right? You can read through this prompt, and you can even continue the conversation if you want to, right through ChatGPT. And the same thing happens for, the prompting expert. Hey, I need a prompting expert, right? Help me write this prompt. You can read through this at your own leisure and continue this conversation if you like. That's inside the prompt engineering stitch, and the Xray.tools chat example. I actually gave you access to the developer preview. You could chat with this if you want. You dare. You won't be able to get the URL, which is why I did that. One of the attributes of Xray workflow, being able to sort of obscure and layer things like that. But yeah, feel free to ask the Notion developer docs whatever kind of question you want. The goal here will be to actually list or have chatbot for every individual Xray certified tool. So if we're using it a lot, including even our own tool, Xray Workflow, as a developer, we have our own developer docs and stuff. We're going to list all that stuff there. So those are the first two pins here at the top. Then you have information about Xray, information about CrowdSamers. You want to learn more, dig deeper into who the heck Trevor and I are, you're free to do that. And we tried to make that real easy for you. So that was the demo for today, and excited that we continue to build this platform, and hopefully going to help a lot of no coders and low coders just be able to do what they're trying to do. There's no reason that we can't. So we have the tech.
Yeah, one thing I want to call out here that what I found so interesting about this is the biggest challenge, biggest hurdle when you are first starting with no code is I don't know, one, what I can do, or two, how to do it. And Ben Tossell with
Maker
Makers,
Maker
MakerPad built an entire big business off of what if we showed you how? And you've basically taken all that content, all that thought, all that effort, and you said, what if I made it where instead of having to find the right tutorial, work through it, maybe reach a problem I can't figure out how to get past on my own. Right now, you've just got a place to go talk to and say, hey, I can't change the emoji. What's wrong? Right? You've made that such an easy tool for people.
Yeah.
And it is insane to me that something like the complexity and the sophistication and all the content that Ben Tossell put into that whole platform, and it took, I mean, years of his life to build and then sell to, I think he sold his Zapier, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
8 figures. Yeah.
8 figures sell his Zapier. All of that you put together in, I mean, easy, right? In a few weeks worth of work, as opposed to a few years worth of work,
Yeah. Yeah.
using AI to make this accessible. That's incredible, right? Anybody who has a thing they wish to do and they can't figure out how to make it happen in Zapier or Workato or Make or any of the other ones that you have added and will be adding. This is like, it should be for everybody in the maker space who's doing no code, low code work. Once this rolls out in a week or so, people all just like go there, go talk to Xray tools. It's going to answer your and let Xray answer for you.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Absolutely.
So as somebody who built stuff myself, to making use of doing his job.
Thanks, Trevor. You're breaking up just a little bit there. I'm not sure if that was just me.
It's
But
me.
okay.
Uh,
It cuts to the heart of what we're trying to do at Xray, right? Which is just make it way more accessible for builders to build and
yeah.
to be building the tools to enable that workflow designer to exist and to actually, design the way that work should happen. And part of that is just understanding the limits of the tools that you're already using, and to demystify the no code and code in a little small way. It took me embarrassingly too long to learn this. No code triggers, actions, and searches are at their core API calls, right? So the limit of the tool is literally what API routes there are. So Zapier, Make, Workato, any of these automation providers are just putting a fancy UI on top of an API route. So if you're a no coder, you're talking and using APIs already, right? You're actively engaging in with a dialogue with the robots in that way. So this chatbot and Xray tools as a whole is trying to lower the bar and blur the lines between full code and no code, and really make it so much more approachable for you to just do what it is you want to do, and to really unlock the tools that you already use, that you already pay for. Unlock those abilities that it's already out of the box, you just didn't use it yet.
Yeah.
And I think it can be much more powerful for you on a day to day, and at the end of the day, save some time.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm actually, I think we both shot our bolt what we wanted to talk about. I think this was an interesting discussion. Hopefully, the viewership agrees as well. Um, I actually am doing another live stream in half an hour for a whole different topic. I met a cybersecurity expert who made a post on LinkedIn who said that cybersecurity and marketing are surprisingly the same. And I went, that's a lunatic thing to say. I have to talk to you on air. So uh, in half an hour, I'll be speaking with Jake, and that'll go up, sliced up, put on my channel, whatever. But this conversation also, I think, super valuable. I'll probably end up cutting up some pieces and posting this as well. By all means, if you like what Tom did, you like what I did, either or both of us, bit.ly/practical AI usage. Look at the link here on the screen. I can't point. There we go, on the screen. And I will talk to you in 2 weeks, Tom. I appreciate so much the time.
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. You can find all of our content on our website at Xray.tech. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's my preferred media of the week here. But this is just always a pleasure talking with you, Trevor. And small milestone, I just want to celebrate for a second. I know you have a couple, but that's another day.
Oh
Just hit
yeah,
1,500
yeah.
subscribers on YouTube,
Oh,
like just now.
I
So that
wow.
that's feels pretty good. It must
There you
be
go.
doing live streams with you. So thanks,
There you go.
Trevor.
That's 100% what it is. I think they send you a YouTube button made out of used bubblegum at 1,500.
Really, I am
No,
looking forward to that.
they do at 10,000. They send you, I think it's a silver one or something. But I'm trying to find the appropriate lower tier. That said, you are now able to change the name of your channel. You've got past 1,000, so that
Oh
is
yeah,
one of the limitations.
X-ray automation all the way.
There you
Yeah.
go, all the way. All right, awesome. Well, congrats on your 1,500th subscriber, and Tom, talk to you in two
Till
weeks.
next time. Thanks,
Take care,
Trevor.
man. Bye.
Bye bye.